Good afternoon, and welcome to the Florida Bar Family Law Section's February Facebook Live, Leadership, Professionalism, and Wellness with Florida Bar President Gary Lesser. My name is Amber Kornreich, and I'm a family lawyer practicing in Miami, Florida. Before we jump in, we'd like to remind everyone about the Family Law Section's upcoming CLE, Show Me the Money, Litigating Financial Issues in Family Law Cases, which is taking place in person on February 24th in Miramar Beach. You can register for that program on the Family Law's website, familylawlaw.org. Today's speaker truly needs no introduction. He is our Florida Bar President, Gary Lesser. Gary is originally from West Palm Beach. He attended the University of Miami Law School, and he is regarded as one of the top personal injury lawyers in the state. He's with the firm Lesser, Landy, and Smith. He is a true role model of leadership and professionalism, and we are so honored to have him with us today. Thank you so much, Gary. So, Gary, a lot of lawyers want to know, how does a lawyer become a Florida Bar president? And what advice do you have for young lawyers who may be looking to get involved with local bar associations?
Well, Amber, those are two very good questions. I never actually planned on becoming president of the Florida Bar. It was a very long journey that I'll circle back to, but that is sort of the short answer. It's a very long journey of involvement in the local bar, and then serving on Florida Bar committees, and then maybe running for the Board of Governors in your circuit, and then serving on the Board of Governors for many years. I just thought I would be on the Board of Governors for a few years, serve the profession, and then move on. But I saw some really amazing leaders at the Florida Bar Board of Governors who were able to make a real impact for the profession and for the court. And no one wakes up one day and says, I'm going to run for bar president all on my own. It's a collective journey, and then a few friends who kind of push you and help you along the way, because no journey is taken alone. And I had helped recruit someone to run for bar president a few years ago, and then along with a group of people, and then that same person and another few people said, Gary, I think now is your time. But it really was that journey, and that journey started by being involved with my local voluntary bar. It's so great in so many ways. First of all, you meet lawyers in your community where you live and where you work, and that's important, but you grow as a leader. When I was a brand new lawyer, I went to work with my dad and quickly found out that we had no, clients or revenue. And my dad left a light on and gave me a name in an office, but the rest of it was going to be up to me. That was 30 plus years ago. So one of the first things I did was I went to the Palm Beach County Bar. I found out how I could get involved. I applied for 2 committees and got put on both committees. And the one that I really found my home in was the Professionalism Committee. And like as a 4th or 5th year lawyer, after 4 or 5 years of serving on the committee, I got appointed chair, and I chaired the committee for a few years. And I really think those were the beginning steps that kind of set me on my path, and really recommend local voluntary bar involvement because you'll meet your people in your community, and it's just a great opportunity to grow as a leader. So that's the questions end up having the same answer.
Thank you. Those are great suggestions. So for family lawyers who may already be leaders in the family law section, what opportunities are available for other leadership within the Florida Bar, and how does a lawyer go about in seeking those?
Well, the family law section is really one of the most vibrant sections of all of our sections. But what I've found, especially since I've been in leadership, is we have people who are involved in the sections who are also involved with Florida Bar committees. A lot of people who are involved in the sections serve on our Florida Bar committees. And the deadline to apply for bar committees for the upcoming bar year, I mean this June to the following June, just passed a couple of weeks ago. And that would be for President-elect Scott Westheimer. If you did apply, he'll love me for saying this, email him and let him know that you applied and that you're interested. And if you don't want to email him, because maybe he's very busy, reach out to your local Board of Governors members in your circuits and let them know that you've applied or you're interested in applying. And that will also kind of help move you up in terms of the type of visibility that you get. But the section members end up becoming leaders of our committees without fail. And I think that's a great path to complement your section involvement.
So you mentioned that professionalism has been an interest of yours for a long time. And within the family law section, many family lawyers and judges share that they've noticed a rise in unprofessional conduct. So what professionalism concerns do you hear about across the state, and what would you like to see change in the practice?
Well, that's a really good question. I think, we've all heard anecdotally how professionalism has been declining for years. Go back a couple of years ago when Mike Tanner was president-elect and was going to be president. We sent out a member survey, and we sent out surveys to our Florida Bar members, this select group. What do you think are the biggest challenges you're facing? What are the biggest challenges for the profession? And we phrased these questions in different ways. And that time, for the first time, declining professionalism was the number one concern in every category that we asked about it. I think there's some causes. I think COVID didn't help. I think COVID accelerated some tendencies. No one had done really Zoom and virtual hearings on a regular basis before, but even if you'd asked someone 10 years ago, hey, would you appear in court live or by this video thing wearing your pajamas? I think almost 100% of people would say, of course not. I think the lack of being together like we used to be also has caused sort of an acceleration of those tendencies. Peak COVID is over, we're moving forward, but still virtual hearings, we're not gathering together as often, which actually, in my opinion, makes voluntary bar involvement and section involvement more important than ever. Get together, see the lawyers, see people, socialize, learn, grow. So when Mike saw that data, or former President Michael Tanner, as he's known in bar world, Mike formed a special committee on professionalism that made a number of recommendations in a final report. Some of the things that that the special committee recommended included clear delineation of what a professionalism CLE is. Right now, a professionalism CLE, you only need one every 3 years, and that's usually an add-on, and that's not great. So the recommendation was either more professionalism CLEs or to clearly delineate what will qualify. The other recommendation from the special committee that's on point that I'm still trying to move forward concerns local professionalism panels. They exist in every circuit. The Florida Supreme Court created them by administrative order that said most circuits are different, so let every circuit go their own way. And that's what happened. So the recommendation of the Special Committee on Professionalism was uniformity of composition. Who serves on the professionalism panel? What's their process? How often do they meet? Even the terminology. Some circuits call it a complaint. Some circuits call it a referral. It's not a complaint. It's not a disciplinary process. It actually exists so a lawyer who's having a problem with another lawyer can come together informally. Also, we recommended confidentiality. So these procedures are not part of a motion in a pending case. And those recommendations sit with the court. I think all of us can think of a time where we said or did something we maybe like to do differently. And that's what the local professionalism panels are for. Two things that the bar is doing right now that the special committee recommended. Number one, practicing with professionalism for all new lawyers went to pure Zoom and COVID. And we recommended live or live Zoom, and now it's live virtual. So you can't pause, you can't turn off your camera, you can't go away and come back, with the goal of at least trying to have also live practicing with professionalism throughout the state periodically. The other thing that we did is we provided content to law schools. I think everyone would agree. If you asked, when you learn about professionalism in law school, do you remember what you learned? Did it seem like it was real life that applied to the practice of law? And the answer is, of course, no. It's, for almost everyone I've ever asked, pretty theoretical. So the Florida Bar has amplified its work product that we send to law schools with, video clips of admonishments and reprimands and giving the background. And that's been well received by law schools.
So those are some very important and worthwhile efforts. Of course, another aspect of professionalism is mentorship, and the family law section has an excellent mentorship program. Have you benefited from mentorship, and how did you find your mentor?
So I absolutely benefited from mentorship, and I would not be the president of the Florida Bar or have done most of the things, frankly, that I've accomplished since becoming a lawyer without mentorship. And I got very lucky. When I was in law school, we had a family friend, and my grandmother, who was alive at the time, said I should call him because he's nice. he was friends with one of my uncles, one of her sons. And we met for lunch and had a nice lunch, and I followed up. In terms of getting a mentor, I would tell everyone, be willing to call and email several times to get the one yes, and that might turn into a mentorship relationship. And Todd ended up hiring me. We worked together when I was in law school, and I learned so much from him. That's the number one thing that a mentor can do, help you grow personally and professionally. I saw how he was as a lawyer. He did personal injury law only by referral, and he treated his clients so well, with such respect and such communication. And he treated everyone in his office very well. You always hear, oh, we're a team at the office. Well, that's sometimes just a figure of speech. And it has to be actual daily, regular practice of showing gratitude and appreciation of the people you work with. And he did that every day. And I said, I want to be a lawyer like him. I want to be a boss like him. Well, then I went to go back home and work with my dad, but my relationship with Todd continued. I mean, I tried and made the effort, which is what you need to do when you are looking for guidance and mentorship. You have to make the effort. And you're not bothering someone. The right person will want to take the time to help. So Todd brought me in as local counsel. Todd was the person who first encouraged me to apply for a Florida Bar Committee 25 years ago. And when he made that recommendation, I actually said no. I said, I'm not like a Florida Bar guy. I like the Palm Beach County Bar. That's where I'm involved. And he said, Gary, get involved and meet lawyers who care about the profession from all over the state. Todd was one of the people who encouraged me to run for the Board of Governors. And Todd Aronovich was part of the group that said, maybe now is your time. And I've had other mentors locally who encouraged me to get involved with different causes. I think it is the number one way that a newer lawyer can grow personally and professionally. And if you get really lucky, like I did and many people do, you'll get a mentorship that becomes a career-long relationship. I mean, I'm having dinner with Todd Aronovich next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story about mentorship. It's great. And, shifting to the wellness aspect, practicing family law can be very emotionally challenging. And we're well aware that when lawyers or judges get burned out psychologically, many problems for themselves, their clients, the litigants can arise. So can you tell us a little bit more about the mental health hotline and what resources are available for legal professionals through the Florida Bar?
Yeah, I mean, I think that generally speaking, the practice has become more stressful. I think it's become more stressful in the world of litigation. And I think it's become especially stressful from what I hear from my friends and colleagues in family law. So before I talk about the helpline, I would tell everyone who's hearing this that, you have to take care of yourself. There's an old saying, when someone is very ill or having health problems, it takes a toll on the caregiver. And that's also true, I think, for us attorneys. And we carry the stress of the cases. We carry the stress of the work that we do wherever we go. And I learned a few years ago, especially even with my busy schedule, but everyone is busy, to draw certain lines, to make certain boundaries. So I don't get out of bed and look at my email the first thing. I'm not in my bed looking at my email when I go to bed. I stretch at night, I stretch in the morning. Actually, a few weeks ago, someone said that they put their out-of-office assistant on for a few hours if they're really trying to get work done, which is actually kind of brilliant because it lowers the expectation. Nothing is more irritating in the world of email than seeing an email and getting another email 3 hours later saying, did you see my email? Well, obviously, I probably didn't. So I think taking care of oneself is important. And a few years ago, the Florida Bar rolled out a helpline. And if you want to go look at it, it's floridabar.org/helpline. And what the helpline has is a number of resources, including a link to the helpline itself, which is confidential and provides 5 free sessions with a mental health counselor. The Florida Bar doesn't know that you've called. Florida Bar doesn't know what's discussed. The only thing that we know is that a call was made, so we can see if the service that we are offering for free is actually being utilized. And if you use that resource, you can also get connected with time management specialists, financial specialists. It's really one of the better things that the Florida Bar has offered to its members. I mean, the Florida Bar has a very important role of working with the court and lawyer regulation, but we're a unified bar. So on the other hand, you have to really focus on helping our members. And so I'd really encourage anyone who is, watching this right now to go to the helpline and see if there are resources that can be helpful. If we don't take care of ourselves, we will be the ones who pay the price for that. And again, that is floridabar.org/helpline. And if you go to that page, you'll see a video of me saying, "Hi, I'm the president of Florida Bar, and I'm never going to know that you called or what was discussed, but please take advantage of these resources to kind of help yourself." Stress has been identified by medical experts as really the #1 aggravator of an accelerator of a lower life expectancy. It's the #1 cause of alcoholism, depression. So we have to take care of ourselves in order to be, of course, the best lawyers we can be, but also our best selves for our family and those we care about. So I'd really recommend, utilizing that resource.
Thank you, Gary. That's really powerful advice, and we really appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our members?
Well, you ask a lawyer, is anything else you'd like to say? And then you have to think, well, what would that be? I think that we had a really good conversation today, Amber. I appreciate your making the time to speak with me, and I appreciate your leadership at the family law section. And if you go to the Florida Bar website and you go to the tab, and there's a tab that says for members, there's other benefits that are there. There's actually a tech helpline that is also for free that can help you troubleshoot regular everyday technology problems. If your servers have crashed and you need a new part, that's beyond the ability. But the free tech line is also very helpful. There are other resources there. And because we offer so many resources to help our members, sometimes members of the Florida Bar don't even know. So I'd encourage people to go to the website, look around, and see what's available, because the Florida Bar is ultimately here to help lawyers in their everyday practice of law. That's actually why I wanted to become president of the Florida Bar.
Thank you, Gary, for your time and your candor. This was an amazing session, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.